Welcome to the Carousel of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Allie Wagner. It has been a very exciting week here at the Carousel of Happiness. In case you missed it, Scott and the Carousel were featured last weekend on a national CBS News segment called On the Road with Steve Hartman. In that program, Steve tells moving stories from the unique people he encounters and the special places he visits as he travels around the country. Steve and his team visited Scott's shop and the carousel a couple of weeks ago, and we are delighted by the story they told. In case you missed it, you can check out the link to the segment in the show notes below. As you can imagine, we have been inundated with emails and donations and all sorts of love as a result of the segment. Thank you all for reaching out and sharing how much Scott's story resonates with you. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. Please be sure to check out the first couple of episodes to learn more about Scott's story and how this beautiful work of art was created 15 years ago. For regular listeners of the podcast, as you know, on last week's episode, I shared a story of what happened to me when I showed up at the carousel one morning and 7 of the animals were missing. Be sure to check out the silly, circuitous hijinks that ensued as a result. On today's episode, we're going to explore what to do when it feels like your world is on fire. What to do when it feels like the world is on fire. Last week, I heard a TED Talk by writer and creative coach Amie McNee, who made the argument that creativity is not a selfish act, like many of us believe, but rather the solution to the world's current problems. On today's episode, I will briefly summarize her argument, but I want us to focus on actually implementing her idea together by the end of the podcast. So this episode is going to be more experiential than the others. I'm going to ask you to actively participate in this episode by choosing to find one activity that you can accomplish that exists in your current surroundings to occupy your attention for a few minutes. That's it. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter who you are. You can tailor this experience to your current circumstances. You do not need to buy, do, or have anything in particular in order to participate. What am I talking about? What do I mean? You can grab a pen and a piece of scrap paper and doodle for the rest of this episode. You can decide to rearrange your pantry. You can give yourself a haircut. Whatever sounds good and doable and, dare I say, fun to do right now. I'm going to guide us through the process, but you can start thinking right now about something you can do for a few minutes simply for fun. Everything is on the table. Bake cupcakes, chop wood, walk around the park, paint your fingernails, finish a puzzle. So let's see, shall we? Is creativity for creativity's sake the solution to the problems that surround us? Can doodling change our lives? Let us begin with today's story. Last week, I watched a TED Talk by writer and creative coach Amie McNee. Its title, The Case for Making Art While the World is on Fire. Amie goes on to explain that creativity is actually not a selfish act during turbulent times, but rather it's the thing that's going to get us out of these turbulent times. It is through acts of creativity, she argues, that we regulate our nervous system, we regain a sense of agency in our own lives, and we reclaim our attention back. Acts of creativity, according to Amie, can be anything. Posting YouTube videos, gardening, singing in the shower, anything human beings do to create something that doesn't otherwise exist with the intention of connecting. Connecting to ourselves, connecting to our family, connecting to our intuition, connecting to millions of subscribers all over the world. Your life is your art. Anything in your surroundings, like your home, your desk, your relationships, these are all elements of the work of art that is you. And what's happened because of the state of the world right now, our attention is outside of us. And we've been led to believe that everything is a mess and there's nothing we can do about it. That has left us feeling overwhelmed, discouraged, and disconnected from our own power. So what do? Amie suggests that when we engage in creativity for creativity's sake, it's because that's the thing that's going to regulate our nervous system. That's the thing that's going to balance our hormones. That's the thing that's going to allow us to get this sense of agency and responsibility back into our lives. That's the thing that's going to allow us to take our attention back from social media, back from 24-hour news, and back to what's within, what wants to be expressed from within. And that's all I'm going to say about her argument. It's a wonderful TED Talk. For those of you who are interested, please check out the link to the video in the show notes. For the rest of us, I want us to explore what her argument feels like in our bodies. It is one thing to understand an argument on an intellectual level. There is value in that for sure. But we learn differently when we use our bodies. This visceral learning lingers far longer than our intellectual understanding. We know this to be true, right? How many times were we told not to do something when we were teenagers, only to do it anyway and then really learn the lesson? That's because words do not teach. It is only life experience. It's only through trying something out, feeling it in our own bodies, and making a decision that we're able to truly know if something works for us. Whatever you're going to do over the next few minutes, it doesn't need to be good. It doesn't need to be finished. It doesn't need to make it onto an art gallery wall or even onto your fridge. Whatever you spend your time doing right now is an opportunity for you to play. It's an opportunity for you to mess around. It's an opportunity to do something solely because it feels good. If you are noticing resistance right now, if you are tempted to turn this episode off, notice that. What is bubbling up for you? How do you feel in your body? Do you feel anxious? Does your chest feel tight? Do you kind of feel guilty? Does this all feel silly? Notice whatever is bubbling up and either decide to listen to what's bubbling up or decide to do it anyway. It is your choice. No judgments. Okay. So I have decided that I am going to use some colored pens that I have and a piece of paper. And I'm doing that because, quite frankly, they're on my desk. I'm doing that also because if I'm going to guide us through, I don't want to be too terribly consumed with what I'm doing. Now, for those of you with sensitive ears, you might actually hear the sound of my pen on paper. That is just proof that I am a human being engaging in this activity as well. So I invite you, whatever your medium of choice is, to find it now. And I want you to pay attention to why you made that choice. I chose this medium because it was going to be easiest for me to participate. I chose it because I like to doodle and I like colored pens. I also chose to do it because it was immediately accessible to me. So pick whatever it is that you're going to do. And before you do anything, or maybe you've already started, if you've already started, don't worry about it. Before you do anything, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and notice the sounds in your space. Notice the sound of my voice. Notice maybe the traffic in the distance. Notice the sounds of the birds. When we notice with our senses, we transition our awareness away from our mind and into our body. What do you hear right now? Perhaps, like me, you just heard both of my dogs barking and running out into the backyard. And in this place of silence, of stillness, I invite you to scan your body from the top of your head all the way to the tips of your toes, and just notice what it feels like to be inside your head, to be inside your throat, inside your torso, moving the attention down, down, down. What does it feel like inside your belly? What does it feel like inside your pelvis? Moving the attention down, down, down. And just noticing, checking in as you move down through the legs to the soles of your feet. And having awareness of your feet, I invite you to open your eyes and start playing with your medium. So I decided it would be fun to write my name. I like writing my name, particularly when I'm in meetings. I like to color in parts of the letters in my name. Sometimes I like to make my name with capital letters or lowercase letters. And the idea is that I'm going immediately with what works. I'm going immediately with what feels easy. I'm going immediately to what's going to get me to engage with the medium right here and right now. And so I'm filling in little bits of my name. I put a little heart over the I in my name, and I'm filling that in. And the idea is that we're paying attention to what feels good. I thought that heart was really fun to draw, so I'm drawing another one, and whoops, got a little wonky. So we're going to fill that heart in. And just hearing the sound of the pen on the paper. Feeling what the pen feels like in my hand. If I tighten the grip, what does that feel like? How does it move on the page? That doesn't feel very satisfying to me. I like a looser grip. So I'm going to play with the idea of a really loose grip. Seems a little wobbly. I don't like it when it wobbles. Now, whatever you're doing right now, maybe you're reorganizing items in your pantry. Notice how you want to do it. Not how it should be done. Not notice what needs to be done, but what do you want to do? Where do you want to put the cereal in your cupboard? Where does it feel best to you? We see this all of the time at the carousel with little kids that sit down right by the Wonder Box at the coloring table. And just like me, they've got colored pens and pencils, and immediately kids know what they want to draw. They know what they want to draw because they are connected to that quiet place within. So I invite you just to know that's what needs to be done right now. That's what needs to be done because that's what feels good. That's what needs to be expressed. And I'm still playing with my doodles. I have started to write the first letter of my middle name, but I'm not really feeling the desire to write that all out. And I'm thinking I might change the color. So I had a purple pen. Now I'm going to go with an orange pen. And I'm just making that decision because it feels good. And now I'm remembering how much fun it is to draw little cubes. Little 3-dimensional cubes that you learned how to do in grade school. And you're like, whoa, that's so awesome. Or maybe that's just me. And I'm coloring in both of the sides. And at any point, when I'm deciding what it is that I want to do, I go with my gut. I go with the first idea. I'm not getting in my head about this. I'm not worried about this. No one is going to see this. All I'm doing is I'm exploring what it feels like to mess around. Because one of the things that Amie McNee said in that TED Talk is that they've done studies of people who doodle, who paint, who do something artistic for 45 minutes and they don't have any skill or talent whatsoever. And in that 45 minutes, their cortisol levels drop. In that 45 minutes, their mind is occupied with something and it allows the body to regulate itself. Our bodies are so incredibly powerful. They know so much. They know so much more than we do. They know so much more than we give them credit for. And so art can be a way for us to get out of the way and allow that sense of ease. Allow our bodies to naturally do what they know how to do, which is fix themselves. We are a self-fixing mechanism. And so now, perhaps, make a decision right now, whatever it is that you're working on, to change it up. Change it up just because. Immediately decide to change it up. I'm going to change my color to a green pen. And I'm doing that just because I wanna. And you know what? Just because I wanna is agency. Just because I wanna is me taking power and ownership over this little domain that is my piece of paper. I get to practice what it feels like to be the God, the all that is the universe of this little square piece of paper, this 4x6 piece of paper. I am in charge of what goes on this page. I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't have to justify it to anybody. Make that decision right now and feel what it feels like to have that agency. Feel what it feels like to make a decision and be empowered to engage in that decision without approval, without justification, without expectation. What does that feel like? Awesome. And so now, wherever you are, I invite you to make one more decision. One more decision that you want to make. Switch up the colors, turn off the podcast, whatever it is that you want to do. Choose to take agency in this moment of your current circumstances. Choose in this moment to do something that feels good for you. That's it. I am going to... What am I going to do? I've already drawn a heart. I've already done a square. What is it that I want to do? I want to draw a lightning bolt. Lightning bolt. Ooh, turns out they're difficult to do, but I am managing. Whew. That is something. So I decided I wanted to draw a lightning bolt. And I drew it. And now I'm filling it in just a little bit. Just 'cause. It's a green lightning bolt, by the way. Not yellow. Not yellow at all, because I had a green pen in my hand, and that was the easiest thing for me. And I'm just noticing what the pen sounds like. I'm noticing how much I'm filling it in with color. I'm making decisions on how much I want to fill it in with color, how much I want to leave a little space. And whatever decision I'm making, I'm doing just to see. Just to explore. There's no end product that we're focused on. We're focused here and now. And that leads me to the last element of Amie's argument. This idea that art, that creativity, is a way to reclaim our attention. Our attention is all over the place these days. And that's fine. There's a lot going on, but the extent to which we can bring our attention back, just like we did in these few minutes together, allows us to feel what it feels like to have our own attention here. Not on the other side of the world in a conflict, not on the other side of the city where your kid's in school. Our attention is here now. That is where our power lies. That is where we're able to find our center and listen. And that's what I'd like to invite you to do now. Whatever you're working on, you can put your pen down. You can pause the pantry reorganization. And if it's safe for you to do so, close your eyes. And I want you to do the same thing that we did at the beginning of the episode. Notice the sounds in the room. Notice the sound of my voice. Notice the sound of silence in between my voice. What does silence sound like? What do the birds sound like? And then just as we did in the beginning, I'm going to invite you to direct your attention from the top of your head and draw it inside your body all the way down. What does it feel like behind your eyes? What does it feel like in your throat? Noticing the sensations inside our body as we scan our awareness down, down, down into the feet. And on our way, we're noticing, are there areas that feel tight? Perhaps can we soften? Are there areas that feel spacious, easy, light? What do we feel inside our current experience right now? No judgments, observation with an open heart. Speaking of the heart, let's direct our attention there. inside where you imagine your heart, I want you to see if you can listen to my voice from there. Can you direct your awareness down into your chest and use that as your mode of perception? What is there for you? What do you feel? What do you notice? What do you know? How do you feel right now in your body? How is that different than you felt a few moments ago? If you'd like to stay in meditation, you can turn off the podcast right now and listen. Perhaps you'd like to open your eyes and revisit whatever it is that you're working on. Maybe you feel inspired to reach out and share your experience. I would love to hear that. You can send me an email, or there's this little handy button in the show notes that you can click on a smartphone and it will send me a text message. It doesn't send your phone number. We don't have to be BFFs. You can just click on that. It will send a text message to me. You can share your experience with me now. Whatever it is that you do with the rest of your day, I invite you to remember this feeling. I invite you to see if perhaps you can give yourself 5 more minutes later to do something similar. Maybe you listen to this episode again. Maybe you take this feeling we've cultivated and you bring it to a meeting you're about to attend. Whatever it is, I invite you to go about your day from this place of the heart, from this place of your physical body that knows. You just know. And I know that that's not what they told us. I know that that's not what we were led to believe, but you know. And anytime you want to turn back to this moment, to this feeling, you have the choice to. In the meantime, take care. Be well. And as we like to say at the Carousel of Happiness, don't delay joy. And we'll see ya next time around.
Beginnings and endings are only pretendings. I'll see you next time around. I'll see